Good morning. Welcome to the kitchen. It is very early. I want to make sourdough bagels tomorrow. So like most things sourdough, you have to start out the day before. So I got this recipe from Little Spoon Farm. It is a sourdough bagel recipe. Most of the time spent is going to be passive time. However, you do have to do a few things ahead of time. So let me turn you around here and we will get started. All right, so I did feed my sourdough starter last night. I took him out of the refrigerator and fed him. So you can see he is very, very bubbly, very active, and that's what you're looking for. And you also want to smell, oh, he smells wonderful, very sour. Okay, so I am going to get my scale ready. Set it to grams. Okay, and I'm gonna take 15 grams of my starter. He is very sticky. I bet if I do these, they'll be 15. I bet there's 2 grams on my spoon. Oop, 14, it moved up to 14. Okay. So, all right, so, and then I'm gonna take my starter and I'm gonna put him back in the refrigerator because I am not gonna use him again right away. All right, so with my starter, I'm also then going to take 50 grams of water. Let me reset it. 50 grams of water. Okay, and I want to go ahead and get that all mixed together. Start getting it mixed together. Start kind of breaking up the starter a little bit so I don't have clumps. Okay, then I'm going to add 50 grams of flour. Whoop. Okay, and I'm done with my scale. Turn that off, and I'm gonna go ahead, mix all this up. So this makes about 100, it's gonna make 115 grams of starter, which is a little over half a cup. So, and we're gonna use 100 grams, I believe, for our dough tonight. So I'm gonna just make sure there's no clumps of flour in here. I wanna stir it pretty vigorously because I wanna get any kind of cultures that are in the air to go into my flour because that'll help it. Okay. All right. So then I'm gonna take my jar. Actually, I wonder if this is gonna be a big enough jar. Yeah, this will be a big enough jar. It's 2 cups and I want half a cup of starter. Okay, so I'm gonna put this in my jar. And then I'm just gonna let it rise all day at room temperature. And what I'm hoping to time it at is that at a certain point it should at least double in size, and then it will start kind of deflating a little bit. And when it starts to deflate, that's the perfect time. That's when you want to get your starter and use it in your baked goods. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna put the lid on very loosely so the gas can escape. There we have the first of our sourdough bagels. Tomorrow, this will be bagels. So I'm gonna go ahead and set it in a warm place, and we'll come back in about 12 hours. All right, guys, we are back with step 2 of our sourdough bagels. So I showed you this morning how I fed the starter. So now I'm gonna use 100 grams of the starter, and I'm gonna add in 255 grams of water. And I just did lukewarm water. And in this recipe that I will link below, there are cup measurements if you do that. I just prefer when I'm doing sourdough and when I'm doing breads to use the grams, because I think it's more accurate. So I'm gonna stir this in, kind of get my sourdough a little bit dissolved in here. Okay, and then we're gonna add in 2 tablespoons of, you can do honey or sugar. I'm gonna do sugar. 2 tablespoons of honey or sugar. There's 1 and 2. And then 2 teaspoons of salt. And you want to use a fine sea salt. So I'm actually using Redmond's Real Salt. It is mined in the US, in Utah, and it has all the minerals in it. So it doesn't have any of the anti-caking agents or the iodine or anything like that. So it's not iodized. And then I'm going to add in 500 grams of bread flour. Which is about a little over 4 cups. Okay. And I'm all done with this. So I'm going to use my Danish whisk and whisk it all up, mix it all up. And then what we're going to do is we are going to set this on the counter, and it is going to do a bulk ferment overnight. And then we will be ready for the next step tomorrow. So you just want to whisk it until all of the flour is incorporated. And you may need to use your hands. I have washed my hands, so I'm actually going to use my hands, but I don't want everything sticking to it. So I'm going to get my hands a little bit wet. And that actually stops the dough. It doesn't stick as much that way. Okay. And then I'm just going to knead this in, mix everything up. Once I get it incorporated, I'm just going to set it aside until tomorrow. And then we will be back and I will show you what we're going to do. We're going to shape our bagels. We're going to boil our bagels, and then we're going to bake our bagels. All right, so I've been kneading my dough. The longer you knead it, the smoother it will get. It will start out super sticky, but when you knead it and you build up the gluten, it will smooth out. So I'm going to go ahead and get some tension on it. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in a bowl. I'm going to cover it, and I'm going to let it sit overnight. I'm going to go ahead and spray my bowl so that my dough does not dry out. And then I'm going to cover it and let it rise on its own. Welcome back, guys. All right, so it is the next day and our bagel dough is ready. Let me just get my apron on here and let me show you what we got. Okay, so our dough has doubled in size. I need my dough scraper here. So we're gonna put our dough out onto a clean work surface. Okay. And this recipe makes 8 bagels. And they do freeze nicely too. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut it into 8 equal parts. Okay, and then once we have our dough cut into the parts, we're gonna fold it into balls like this. So we wanna make sure we have some tension on the top, and we're just going to pinch together the seams down below. And then we're going to take and we are going to poke a hole in the middle, and we're going to shape our bagels. We want to try and make the outsides as even as possible. Okay, we're going to shape them, and then we're going to put them on either a parchment lined baking sheet, or I'm using a Silpat silicone liner. Okay, and then we'll do that to all 8 of them. And then we're going to cover them up and let them rise for another hour. So I will be back as soon as I have all of these shaped. Okay, so we have all of our bagels shaped, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cover them with a damp towel. And I'm going to put them someplace warm to rise for about an hour until they get puffy and doubled in size, and then we'll come back and we will boil them and bake them and flavor them. All right, guys, so our water is boiling for the bagels. Our bagels are almost puffed up, and I'll show you those in a second. I've gone ahead and added a tablespoon of molasses to my water. You can add sugar. However, like in bagel shops and bakeries, they generally use barley malt. And since that is hard to find in stores, molasses is a good substitute. And it just helps give a really good texture on the outside and gives them that brown, golden brown color. So we're gonna get our water boiling and then we'll come back. All right, guys, so our water is just starting to boil. I'm gonna go ahead and show you our bagels. And they will puff up once we get them in the water. So I'm gonna put you guys over here, and we're gonna start boiling. And you wanna boil them for 2 minutes on each side. And they will puff up when you boil them. And you don't wanna crowd your pot either. So I'm gonna start my timer. And we're gonna do 2 minutes on each side. Okay, so our timer's almost up for our 2 minutes, and I'm gonna show you guys how we flip them. I have a slotted spoon here that I'm gonna use to flip them. And then I'm gonna do 2 minutes on the other side. Maybe I'm gonna flip them. Okay, he doesn't wanna flip. There we go. So you see how they puffed up? And I'm just gonna do this until they are all flipped, and then you wanna put the toppings on it when they're still wet from being boiled. All right, guys, so we have all of our bagels boiled, and now we're going to put them in the oven to bake. We get a oven mitt on. So these are gonna bake at 425 degrees for 26 to 28 minutes or until golden brown. So we'll see you soon, bagels. All right, here is our finished product. I'm gonna take them off the cookie sheet to let them cool. And I'll give you guys a view of them here in just a minute. Let me just get them off this cookie sheet. All right, let me put this back over here. All right, guys, so there you have it. We made homemade sourdough bagels. Look how delicious they look. Look at the bottoms, are very toasty. Ooh, hot. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. If you did like it, please give it a thumbs up. Also, if you'd like to be notified every time I post a new video, go ahead and hit that little bell icon. And let me know in the comments if you guys are going to be making bagels yourselves and what toppings you're going to put on your bagels. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.